Pull my heart out of my chest, train my mind so...
Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today I have a little bit of a different tutorial for you. I decided that I would do a bit of a tutorial and review all in one, and I wanted to do it on the new Stila Trust and Love gift set for the holidays this year. I have absolutely fallen in love with this Stila collection for this year's holidays, and I just can't get enough of it. The packaging, first of all, is so beautiful. The entire collection is inspired by old school romance and vintage love letters. And so every product has kind of this gold print with old handwriting on it and then actual like purple ink blots. And it's so cute that the closure is like a faux wax stamp. So I just think that this is such a beautifully thought out collection, and I have fallen in love with absolutely every single piece that I've tried. And I just got this one a little while ago. I've played with it a couple of times, so I thought it would be kind of fun to throw together a look using the products in this kit along with a Stila liquid lipstick as well, and kind of go from there. So I'm going to give you a bit of information on the palette. We'll go through it, we'll swatch it, and talk about quality and all of that, and then there will be the tutorial. I really hope you enjoy, and if you do, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks! So as I said, this is the Stila Trust and Love gift set. This is one of 3 kind of eyeshadowy kits that they've released for the holidays. This one is not available at Sephora. It is available at places like Ulta, Shoppers Drug Mart, Murale, and Scarlett Julia, which is actually where I got mine. It retails for $52 Canadian or $40 in the US, and it has an over $100 value. What's really cool about it is shaped like an old letter. So you open it up, this is a nice magnetic closure. The packaging itself is a nice sturdy cardboard. It feels pretty good, it does not feel cheap or anything. So, oops, runaway lip gloss. So I think it's really nicely made. So once you flip open this top bit, you open it up and there's a mirror. I don't want to blind you. And then in here, you have all of the products. So there are 12 eyeshadows, a deluxe size of the Stila lip glaze in the shade Apricot, and a deluxe size of the huge Extreme Lash Mascara, which is, I guess, their new best seller. So the eyeshadows are kind of cool. There's a mixture of finishes. There's mattes, there's satins, there's shimmers and metallics, and there's some that have like a cool pearl finish to them, and they're kind of mixed throughout. This side of the palette is more cool toned, this side of the palette is more warm toned, so you've got a couple different options and there's lots of places to play with it. So this is a really good option for somebody who likes eyeshadow but you're not really sure what their preferences are, because there's a lot of different ways they can go with this. In terms of eyeshadow quality, I've been really pleased with them. I'm a big Stila fan to begin with, and I have loved their eyeshadows for a long time. Their In the Light palette is one of my absolute favorite holy grail palettes, and I hate that it's not readily available anymore because it is so amazing. But these shadows are fantastic. They are very, very buttery, smooth, and soft. They do kick up quite a bit of powder, but that's normal. Think Lorac shadows, things like that, things that are very, very soft and kind of have that buttery feel to them. Not chalky, but just very soft and finely milled, and they will kick up a little bit. So it's wise to just kind of be careful with how much product you're picking up. And then, if possible, use Fix Plus or something like that if you want to avoid fallout. But there isn't much fallout on the eye, it's more just in the pan. They actually blend and apply beautifully onto the lid. They go on smoothly and really pack on nicely. They're extremely pigmented, so you don't have to worry about any sort of issues with color saturation because you will get the color that you want within 1 or 2 swipes. The great thing about this as well is that because they are so buttery smooth, they blend flawlessly. You can apply them and then just buff them out and they blend beautifully. There's no issues with kind of transfer and patchiness or any of that. It is pretty much perfection. The only thing that I would consider is that some of the shimmer shades are a little bit dull, I think they're beautiful. As you can see, I have one in the middle of my lid right here. They're absolutely stunning, but they need a little bit of a pick-me-up. So I would use a tacky base. I use the Anastasia Beauty Genius Gel, and that really, really helped. But it just kicks up the power and makes them megawatt shadows instead of just kind of nice shimmery shadows. So that is something to consider with this. I also love the mascara. I tried it out for the first time when I was doing this look, and it is fantastic. It's very similar to the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, which is actually my holy grail mascara. The brush is just a little bit smaller, but it has that same hourglass shape. And because it's smaller, I find it's easier to use. It's easier to kind of get into all the nooks and crannies and make sure you get every single lash, but it gives you that dramatic volume that everybody loves. So I love it, and I'm really excited to play with it a little bit more. So talking about the shadows a little bit more, the shadows are named, but there are no names on this package. The names are printed onto the outer package, so you kind of have to either just memorize them or forget about them in general. I wrote them down because I did want to share with you what they're called and what they are described as. And so I'm going to start with the top row and go across, and then go across the bottom row. So this first shade here is called Warm Silver, and it just looks like that. It's a kind of silvery taupe shimmer shade. It's really, really pretty. It has a lot of silver in it. This next shade here is called Fog, and this is a matte, cool toned grayish brown. It's a really beautiful color to deepen up the crease. It's what I use today, and I really, really like it. And the mattes in this palette are beautiful. They are smooth and creamy, and I have no issues with chalkiness with them. The next shade here is called Nude Shimmer, and it's a pinky champagne kind of color. It's the color that I have on my lids, and I really love it. Again, as I said before, like, they are beautiful when you swatch them, but if you really want to amp up the volume, use a tacky base or something like a glitter glue or a Fix Plus. Next is Clay, and this is a matte dusty rose, and I absolutely loved this shade. It was gorgeous for using in the crease. Next to that is Golden Topaz, and this is a peachy copper metallic. It is absolutely stunning, and I cannot wait to create a look with this. You guys know I love my warm orangey red shimmer shadows, so I didn't want to use that today, but it was really hard not to. The last shadow here is Plum, and this is a very kind of self-explanatory deep plum with a satin finish. This one is not the most pigmented of the group, but can be built up really beautifully. On the bottom row we have Black Pearl, and this is a deep gray with a silver micro shimmer. Then we have Stone, which is a light kind of caramelly brown, and it's a satin. Next we have Sapphire, and this is a really gorgeous deep royal blue with a pearlized finish. This one is absolutely beautiful, and I already have a look in mind for using this one. Next we have Metallic Bronze, which is described as a deep reddish bronze with a metallic finish. You can see it there. And the last two shades in the palette are Snowflake, a very light kind of frosty pinkish white. And then the very last one is Light Pink, which, as it just says, it is a very light matte pink. So these last two shades are the lightest and kind of most cumbersome of the palette. They would only really work on someone of my skin tone. They kind of blend in to my skin tone, which is nice for a good base, but they wouldn't really work on somebody with darker skin. Overall, I think this is a really great palette. It has some beautiful shadows in here. There's some great gems. There's a good mix of neutrals, bases, and things that you kind of need for any eyeshadow look. And then it also has the nice pops of kind of jewel tone color. So I think it's really beautiful, and it's a nice way to bring, let's say, like the color of the Vice 4 palette into something that's a little bit more wearable and approachable. So if you know somebody in your life that maybe wants to try a bright color or try something with a pop, they can have this where they have all of their neutrals and their wearable tones, but with a pop that they can play with. So I really like this. I think the shadows are fantastic quality. I love, love, love the mascara so far. The lip glaze is classic. It's your typical sticky lip gloss that stays forever and ever. I really like this palette. I think that it's a great value for $52. You're getting quite a lot. And because I've had my other Stila palettes for years, I know that this will last me and will do a fantastic job in my collection. I'm really excited to play with them a little bit more. And I hope that you guys are excited to learn a little bit about it. If you do want to know more and see more swatches of the shadows, I have a blog post on this product as well, and I will link that in a card above. But for now, let's just get on to the tutorial, and I really hope that you like it. Bye! Alright, so we're starting out with priming our lids, and as always, I'm using my Benefit Air Patrol primer. Then I am going to go in and set that primer with the shade Light Pink from the very bottom of the palette. Just going to quickly set everything and make sure that I have a nice smooth base for the rest of the shadows. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade Clay, which is like a dusty mauve, and I'm taking that on a very thick, fluffy brush, just straight through the crease, trying to create a nice warm transition for the rest of my shades. I'm focusing this shadow in the outer corners and then dragging it through the rest of the crease because this eye look was going to be very heavily focused on the outer third of the eye. Now I'm going to mix both clay and metallic bronze on a Luxie 227 brush, and I'm going to start placing this on the outer corner of my eye, and I'm going to be very precise with this. I am going to place it on the outer corner, really pack the color there, and then as I have less product on my brush, I'm going to take it into the crease. And I'm going to do this over and over again, slowly building up the shade because I want to have a really heavy amount of depth in that outer corner. Now I'm going to take a smaller pencil type brush that is also from Luxie, and I'm going to use just metallic bronze, but I'm going to follow the exact same process I was just doing. So outlining the kind of the outer V, really placing most of the color there, and then once I have a little less product, blending it through the crease. So creating a very smooth kind of transition from the really, really dark, deep outer corner to a really light and shimmery inner corner. I want it to look like sort of an ombre effect, so that is why I am placing the product and then blending it out. I will switch back to the original brush that I was using every once in a while just to kind of buff things out a little bit to create a really smooth transition. And that's what you can see here is I'm going back in with that 227 to kind of diffuse the edges but keep the color and the depth in the outer corner. Next, I'm going to go in with a flat shader brush, and I'm going to take the shade Nude Shimmer, which is a gorgeous pinky champagne shimmer, and I'm going to be packing this onto the lid. The entire lid from the inner corner to about the outer third. I'm not going to place it over top of the metallic bronze. Now I'm going back in with metallic bronze on a more precise brush just to deepen up any of the color that may have been lost with the shimmer shade. Now I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a trick of mine, which is using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Beauty Genius Waterproof Gel. I apply this to the back of my hand and then take a very stiff shader brush, run it through the gel, and then use that brush to apply any shimmer or foiled shadow. And it really kicks up the intensity to an amazing level. So a beautiful shimmer shadow is now turned into a megawatt foiled gorgeousness. When I'm applying it in this method, I make sure to press the shadow onto the lid. No swiping or wiping because it will not stick. Also, I am remembering to take it up right into the crease so that the entire inner corner of the lid is really bright. Now I'm going to go in with the shade Fog, which is kind of like a gray taupe on a very precise brush, and I'm going to just further deepen that outer corner. And that's just by creating a very precise V shape, and then I'm going to blend it out a little bit later. Now I'm going to use that original 227 and just go over the entire eye, blending all of the lines and edges to make sure everything looks really smooth. Now I'm going to go in with a makeup wipe just to clean up the edges and make sure that the under eye is clean before I go in with my trusty Kat Von D Trooper eyeliner to create a rather thick wing. I wanted a lot of glamour and drama in this look, so I made sure to take the wing all the way into the inner corner of the eye. Moving on to face, my foundation is already done, so I'm going to take my NYX Full Coverage Concealer and conceal any spots. And then I'm going to go in with my Urban Decay Naked Skin Weightless Concealer to do under the eyes. And of course, I am going to apply, then buff that in, and I'm also highlighting the face while I do this. So I apply it to the nose, the forehead, Cupid's bow, and chin, and then I'm going to buff that in with my favorite G1 brush, and then set it with my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. As my under eyes are baking, I'm going to go in and set the rest of my face with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in the shade Luminous Light. Then I'm going to go back to eyes, and I'm going to curl my lashes before trying out the new Stila Huge Lash Extreme Mascara, which you can see I was really impressed by. It looks super similar to my favorite mascara, so I thought it would be so fun to try, and I ended up loving it. It gives such a great amount of volume and drama, perfect false lash look, but it is a much smaller brush, so it's easier to use. Then I'm going to go in with bronzing and using the Stila Stale Day Bronzer for face and body, which I love for my extra fair days because it is the most perfect shade. And I'm just going to go all over, give an overall bronzing of the face. I don't know about you girls that are a little bit more fair, but every time I apply bronzer, I'm amazed at the difference it makes, and it just gives me such a boost of energy because I love how much more wide awake and warm that my face looks. So you can see now I just realized that I needed to take off the powder under my eyes before I could continue with contouring using my Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Kit. This is still my absolute favorite product to use for contouring, and nothing has beat it yet, so I don't think that'll be changing anytime soon. But I'm going to be using my typical 3-brush routine, as you've seen a few times, and I'm doing a little bit of a heavy contour just because I really wanted to have that dramatic glam feeling. After a little extra blending, I'm going to go in and highlight using the Kat Von D Metal Crush eyeshadow in the shade Thunderstruck, and my absolute favorite highlighting brush right now. This one's from Morphe, and I will leave the actual name down below, but it is fantastic. It's a goat hair brush, so it really gets in there and applies the product beautifully. Now for blush, I'm going to be keeping it really simple and just use my good old Tarte Amazonian Clay blush in the shade Exposed. And of course, more blending. Then back to the eyes, I'm going to take a metallic bronze on a smaller pencil brush, and I'm going to run that along the outer third of my lower lash line. I really wanted the color to come along and go right into the middle of my pupil. Then I'm just going along the very edge and using the darker shade to deepen it, and then I'm going to highlight the inner corners with that Kat Von D shadow. A little bit of tight lining using my Marc Jacobs highliner pencil in black. And now on to lips. I couldn't really figure out what color I wanted to wear. I had 3 different options, and I ended up choosing the shade Aria, which you can see I'm applying here. And I loved this shade at first swipe. It is so gorgeous, the perfect kind of like winter bright lipstick. But then I changed my mind and I wanted to make it darker, so I added a little bit of Chianti, and the combination of the two was just worldly changing. And of course, a little bit of concealer to clean up all of the edges.
Pull my heart out of my chest, train my mind so I forget. Sink your teeth into my bones, dig me out, then fill the hole. Tear me apart and watch it burn. Tear me apart and watch it burn. All that's left is a window to my soul. Come and get it.